This is AD Tech Sports and News YouTube channel. Subscribe now. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD, stands today as one of the most ambitious development projects in Africa. Built by Ethiopia on the Blue Nile, this massive hydroelectric dam has drawn regional and international attention, often surrounded by controversy, misunderstanding, and political maneuvering. At the heart of the tension are three key countries: Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan. Ethiopia, the upstream country, constructed the dam to address its electricity needs and boost regional development. With more than half of its population living in energy poverty, the GERD is not just a national project. It is a symbol of hope for the entire East African region. On the other side are Egypt and Sudan, two downstream nations that depend on the Nile for water. Egypt, in particular, sees the dam as a threat to its water security. Sudan echoes this fear. However, these fears are largely based on misinformation and misunderstanding about how the dam works. The GERD is a hydroelectric dam, not an irrigation dam. This means it doesn't consume or permanently store water. Instead, it simply allows water to pass through turbines, generating electricity in the process, and then returns the water to river, continuing its flow downstream to Sudan and Egypt. No country is losing any water because of the dam. Yet, former U.S. President Donald Trump added fuel to the fire. In what can only be described as false and misleading claims, Trump repeatedly stated 3 times in a single month that the United States funded the Ethiopian dam. Ethiopia, however, firmly rejected this narrative. In fact, Ethiopia has always insisted that the dam was 100% funded by Ethiopians themselves, through public contributions, government support, and a passionate diaspora committed to national progress. The project began in 2011 with a budget of around $4 billion, and after years of effort and sacrifice, it is now completed and set for inauguration in September. When Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed announced the dam's completion, he emphasized that it was a symbol of Ethiopian unity and development. But despite his repeated assurances that the GERD is a shared opportunity for the region, Egypt remains unconvinced, largely due to internal and external political pressure. In a recent Truth Social post, Trump again falsely claimed the U.S. had funded the dam and even went as far as to say that Egypt might blow up the dam. This reckless statement reveals how misinformation from global leaders can distort facts and escalate tensions. But what is Trump's real motive in supporting Egypt so strongly? Analysts suggest it has less to do with water and more to do with geopolitics, specifically the war in Gaza. Trump wants Egypt to support Israel, America's close ally. There are claims that Trump is pushing Egypt to accept Israel's controversial plan to confine Palestinians near the Rafah border in southern Gaza. However, Egypt has rejected this proposal, viewing it as a move that could lead to forced migration of Palestinians into Egyptian territory and a violation of the peace treaty between Egypt and Israel. At the same time, Egypt wants the U.S. to pressure Ethiopia over the GERD. In return for political cooperation, Egypt likely hopes to gain Washington's support in the dam dispute. But what price must Egypt pay to keep Trump's backing? To bring clarity to confusion, Ethiopian geopolitical commentator Zemedena Nagata joined a live interview from Addis Ababa. He addressed Trump's claims directly. Zemedena explained that Ethiopia had approached multiple international institutions in the early stages of the project, including the World Bank, U.S. institutions, and other European financiers. All of them refused to fund the project. In fact, many question why Ethiopia needed such a large dam at all. Some even suggested Ethiopia only needed 1,000 to 1,200 megawatts of power, instead of the 5,000 to 6,000 that the GERD was designed to produce. Because of this international rejection, Ethiopia turned inward. It relied entirely on the strength and will of its people to finance and build the dam. There is no evidence, none, that the U.S. contributed even a single dollar to the project. Zemedena believes Trump was either misinformed by his staff or deliberately spreading false information. He emphasized that these kinds of facts are easily verifiable. Anyone, including Trump, could confirm that the dam was Ethiopian-funded. If anything, Zemedena said, Trump should come and visit the dam to see it for himself. He also highlighted the dam's importance beyond Ethiopia. Millions of Africans, across East and North Africa still live in darkness. The GERD is a lifeline, a beacon of what's possible when a nation builds for itself. Ethiopia has shown the world that a developing country can deliver a project of this scale without foreign aid and without harming its neighbors. The fears expressed by Egypt and Sudan, Zemadan stressed, are unfounded. Not a single liter of water has been lost due to the dam. Ethiopia has gone out of its way in negotiations to prove this, offering data, evidence, and technical guarantees that the water flow will continue uninterrupted. The problem, he says, lies in political agendas and media misinformation. Egypt's leaders and some international actors continue to frame the dam as a threat, despite clear evidence to the contrary. But for Ethiopia, the GERD is a symbol of resilience, independence, and hope. In conclusion, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is not a threat. It is a blessing. It was built entirely by Ethiopians, funded by their own hands, and it doesn't harm anyone. Trump's claims are factually incorrect, and efforts to mislead the global public only create unnecessary tension. The world should recognize the GERD for what it truly is, a peaceful development project for a better Africa. Or news reading for your AD Tech News and Sports YouTube channel.